Hi, I'll be talking about the series The Goffins. The first book is The Goffins, Lofty and Eve. It's where this boy named George changes houses to look after his grandma. But one night he was very angry and he went up to his room and he heard this knocking at the loft door. He opened this door and the whole attic was trashed. But one little girl came out and then after a father. They were called Lofty and Eve. The story is about the Goffins and the island and the history of George's family. And also the games. The Goffins have got a family, or half their family, living in a church somewhere else. So half their family went to look after their grandma. Now the Goffins' fun and games. George goes off and plays with the Goffins. George is given a Twigaloo and they have a few parties and they play a few games. George learns a bit about the history of another one of his family members, as well as giving the Goffins a little radio. Now for the Goffins Go Batty, the second last book. George is woken up by this little dog barking, a stray one. George goes and asks Lofty and Eve if they were playing on the Twigaloo, which is their little musical instrument. They say they weren't, so Lofty says it was probably the dog out there. I be hearing it barking as well. George and Lofty look out the window. The dog wasn't there. Just then a bat flew in and it was injured, so Eve took care of it and then she gave it to George. So George looked after it, but one day George found the dog and caught it and asked his parents if he could keep it, which meant he had to get rid of the bat. So George had to quickly sneak upstairs and show Eve whenever he could. Eve really liked it. So did George. They all thought it was giving it a bit of responsibility. Now for the Goffins' Togus and Treasure, the last book. It's about Lofty and Lofty's son and Eve's brother. He has to come and get a ride, well not a ride but a transportation device for his grandma. So his grandma, George's grandma's ordered a rideable scooter. And the golf cart breaks, so they have to take the rideable scooter at the midnight. So Arch, Eve's brother, takes the scooter and returns it, except it's got one scratch. Later, George's dad is arguing over the scooter, but they can't return it because it's got a scratch on it. So I hope you enjoy and read the series of The Goffins by Jeanne, Willis.